Very little of note happened in the qualifying race, even though I was in it. Anthony Evans took out the race win, leading the whole way, with Stuart Sandoval, Ian Cooper, Carlos Donzello, Colin Evans, his son, Franz Redlich, Trevin Terrell making his debut for this race, Tyson Lautenschlager, Mike Whitmore, Stephanie McGlynn, and yours truly ended up qualifying for the race. The only caution during that race was Randy Robinson, who started, I think, 7th or 8th, and dove into turn 3 on, lap 3, and hit the grass and lost the rear end of his car and collected David Krikorian and took both into the wall. So, rather amateurish incident for Randy, who had actually shown some fairly ominous pace all weekend. Of course, Robinson and Krikorian both failed to qualify. That aside, there really hasn't been too much going on, other than Trevin Terrell making his debut. Of course, he ran very well in the last 2 races of the TM Junior Series, even though he didn't finish the TM Junior round of Quincy. He ran a strong second in the TM Junior round of Daytona, so it'll be very interesting to see how Trevin handles himself in his first Master Cup race. Dan, off to you, while I get suited up. Thank you, Lance. Taking out the Delano Polaroid on this recently constructed half-mile is Mike Whitmore in car number 20 for the Camelot Racing Team. Mike Whitmore gets a great start on Ethan Everett, and of course CN Row 2, Jacques Bouvier had a great qualifying effort, as did Arto Kekkonen. You see Mike Whitmore already stretching out his lead when they go into turn 3. Tony Durbin qualified 37th of 38 cars because he had an engine failure during his qualifying lap. One of the few mechanical problems we've seen on the Sar Eagle this year. However, it's going to be very interesting to see Durbin work his way through the field. Ethan Everett is in second on lap 4. When this camera starts now, lap 5. He's going to make a move on the inside of Mike Whitmore. Very close to getting into the back of Whitmore's car number 20. And Everett moves around Mike Whitmore, and coming off turn 4 is going to clear the 20 car and take over first. Ethan Everett on a charge early on. Whenever we go to these short ovals, you have to watch out for car number 17. Dale Roswell has been showing some very ominous speed. He's already up to 3rd after starting 5th, and he was pretty quick in practice. Zach Duff has got a new sponsor in car number 28. The Dilated Paints is a Michigan-based company, and they are going to be on this car for this race and for the next race as well in Wisconsin. Currently battling with Alan Hodges, Duff is running in the top 15 at this stage of the race. Tom Delgado was very fast in both of the practice sessions. However, he qualified very poorly, much to his surprise. And you see Adrian Devereaux in car 26, also quick in practice, poor qualifying effort for the Frenchman. Delgado will be interesting to see if he can work his way through the field. You'll also notice right behind Tom Delgado is Anthony Evans in car number 10, and right behind Anthony Evans is Trevin Terrell in car number 40. Anthony Evans, of course, dominated the qualifying race. Trevin Terrell making his first TM Master Cup Series start. He is one of 2 African-American drivers in the field, the other being Stuart Sandoval. You'll also notice Colin Evans right there in the 30 car. He is running for the Independence Trophy, and this has so far not been one of Colin's better performances. Let's go a little further up the field in 7th place to Leon Keniston in car number 39, another driver that cut his teeth on these short tracks. He's running very well so far, currently running in 7th, and you'll also notice Carlos Donzello in car number 22 running in 6th. So, 2 drivers who we haven't seen much of this season having strong runs. Lap 20, Tony Durbin has gotten his way all the way up to 20th, but he's going to get a little bump and run from his, nemesis Alexis Rainsford, who's going to move around and take 19th away from Durbin, who has stormed his way through the field in the opening laps. However, he is finding this 27 car to be one of the more formidable obstacles on the track. Anthony Evans, a bit further back in the field, hasn't exactly progressed as much as he'd like. He's going to have a puncture on the right front tire. He's going to jam up what few cars are behind him and, gets into the back of Taub and brings car number 10 into the pits. So Anthony Evans' day not going well. Alan Hodges was the points leader entering this race after Alexis Rainsford was docked 25 points after the round of Quincy. He's currently running 13th at the moment. So the Welshman having a very strong run so far. Adrian Devereaux, his teammate and points rival, is currently running all the way down in 35th. Devereaux doesn't seem to have the handle on this 26 car this race, and it just appears that he's struggling with this car. So Devereaux is going to have to pick it up if he's going to want to challenge Alan Hodges' run so far, and Alexis Rainsford has moved her way up to 17th in car number 27. So Alexis is apparently knocking on the door of Alan Hodges. Ethan Everett is still holding the lead. There hasn't really been much to say about Ethan Everett leading because that's what he's been doing this whole time. Solid lead over Mike Whitmore, Kurt Pliskin in the 16, Jacques Bouvier. You notice Leon Kennison's moved up a spot, Marcus Leonard, Dale Roswell has dropped to 8th. Lap 31, Azuma Kazuyama, Stuart Sandoval, and Trevin Terrell. All battling for position. It looks like Terrell, almost clears Sandoval, but not quite. Sandoval gets into Kazuyama and Terrell. Kazuyama and Sandoval will both have to pit for repairs to those cars and go 3 laps down. Lap 36, Franz Redlich, running in 11th, is going to lose the engine on that car. The Volpes have had some mechanical problems all weekend, including Alexis Rainsford missing second practice due to mechanical issues plaguing her car. So, Redlich is going to go out of the race, but he has a drive for next season already lined up with the new Gessler team. Kurt Pliskin in car number 16, new sponsor on this car as the field comes to lap Azuma Kazuyama in the 839. Kurt Pliskin's new sponsor, Yoo-Hoo, well, he's putting on a great show for him, putting this yellow number 16 JD Predator up in second place. So Pliskin already showing a lot more speed than he has most of the season, when he's been very competitive all year. So, looks like he may have a real reason to be shouting Yoo-Hoo after the race after he hunts down Ethan Everett. At least, that's what the plan is. Pliskin, watch out for him throughout this race, because it looks like the 16 car is fast. Azuma Kazuyama, though, is going to be quite the nuisance to Ethan Everett because he's on fresher tires than Everett after pitting for damage. The team also opted to change tires, and he's 0.3 of a second quicker than Everett. This is going to give Kurt Pliskin an opportunity. Pliskin dives into turn 3 and capitalizes on it, moving around car number 11 and takes the lead for himself. New sponsor's got to be very happy with this. He's going to have another new sponsor later in the season. However, the Yoo-Hoo colors will be on for this race along with the round in Wisconsin. Dale Roswell has lost a cylinder on car number 17, so on lap 50, he's already dropped way through the field. Of course, Roswell was running very strong early on, but this car is just way slower than everyone else on the racetrack. You'll notice you saw in the background Kazuyama and the leaders closing in on him. So this has obviously not been an ideal night. Stuart Sandoval, like Azuma Kazuyama, is also on fresher tires and running about 0.3 of a second faster than the cars in front of him, including Marcus Leonard and the 999 Onion Machine, and the number 20 car of Mike Whitmore. So Sandoval is being a bit of a nuisance, but he's actually in a battle for position with Kazuyama, even though Kazuyama is about 3-4 seconds up the road. So Sandoval is being a bit of a nuisance, but there's really not much you can do about that. Lap 61, Yuliana Sova in car number 7 has a turbo fire in that car, and the Katsev is going to drop out of the race, stacks up the whole field. Alexis Rainsford and Danny Savin are going to be opportunistic and pick up a couple of spots in that. Sova had to slow that car down in order to bring it to the pits. She'll go out of the race, but Rainsford playing some games here with her teammate. There's Duff in the dilated car. And she just says, oh, thank you for moving over. I'm going to take this spot now. And Duff looks like he's got the run, but Rainsford decides, nope, I've got this spot. You go back to 15th now. In this shot here, you have a lot of the jokers in the deck. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of cars here that could potentially come up into the top 5. Andrews, Cooper, Durbin, Roderick, Eisenman, and Tom Delgado is a little behind this. But these are all cars that could potentially have something for the leading cars because they've all shown some significant speed in the past few laps. Dale Roswell's bad cylinder would eventually mean Dale Roswell going a lap down. So Pliskin moves around him. Second place, Jacques Bouvier in car number 59, who won the round of Germany earlier. Alexis Rainsford pits on lap 65 from 11th. possible flat tire on that car. However, that would be a bad idea because the first caution flew on lap 72, a couple of laps before green flag pit stops were expected in this 170-lap race. Zelda Ashby in car number 55 is going to have a engine blow up right after she passes the pit entry. She tries holding her line in order to let Matt Taylor go by. Of course, Matt Taylor in that 12 car. Everyone starts scattering. Ashby hits the grass, kicks up some dust, and she doesn't really realize that she's pulling right back onto the racetrack. And this is what's going to bring out the caution, the 55, sitting in the middle of the track, and that's going to cause a bit of a stack up. Johans goes into the wall after, well, pretty much everyone behind him panics. On board with Leonid Roderick. Yellow's out. He sees it. He hits the brakes. Just not enough room there. Ashby really should have pulled that car off the track because that created this situation back here. So the 4-time champion, Roderick, and the 2-time Marla champion, Johans, both get damage here. I think Andrews got a piece of that as well. But look on the inside. Adrian Devereaux and Tom Delgado sneaking by with a bunch of positions in those two cars. So that's going to be a little interesting. But the officials told Devereaux and Delgado that those advances they made counted. So, Kurt Pliskin restarted as the race leader. Alexis Rainsford is a lap down due to that untimely stop. Matt Taylor had an extended pit stop. Carlos Donzello, great work by the Majestic Motorsports pit crew to get him out second. However, you'll notice that Alexis Rainsford is not exactly willing to go down without a fight, and she's going to try to get that lap back, hoping for another yellow. 27 car moves around Pliskin. Pliskin's got a fair gap between him and Donzello right now. And looks like Pliskin's going to try to return the favor. He's going to try to make a move coming out of turn 2. This is where the 16 car has been fastest. And Pliskin is actually going to make the pass and put Rainsford back a lap down. That's some motivation right there. Always a bit of an extra motivation if you can put someone like Alexis Rainsford or Leonid Roderick a lap down. And Roderick's still in the lead lap, but he has put Rainsford a lap down. Ethan Everett pits on lap 80 in car number 11 after contact under yellow flags with the car you're about to see, Scott Bates in the 88. Both cars thought they had tire punctures, thought they'd come into the pits. The officials ruled the contact was not intentional, but it did cause both cars to require to pit for new tires. Yamino Tenchi in car 831 is currently running in second position, having taken that spot from Carlos Donzello. You'll notice Alexis Rainsford there and Ethan Everett in the 11. Of course, Everett now lap down, but Tenchi having one of her stronger runs of late. Second caution on lap 84. And here we are with Tyson Lautenschlager, who had his hood removed after his pit crew couldn't get all the hood pins back on. He's been weaving all over the track a little bit. At least that's what Ian Cooper thinks in the 777 car. And Cooper just runs right into him and puts him into the wall. Ian Cooper said on his radio that the 80 car needs to pick a lane or I'm dumping him. Well, I don't think that sat too well with the officials because they warned him for aggressive driving. However, the officials apparently took Cooper's side on it because they warned the 80 car for erratic driving, which I don't understand at all. Anyway, on the restart, this under caution, Stephanie McGlynn in the 37 car loses the gearbox in that car, downshifting while under caution. McGlynn was actually not having a bad run, and that's just rather embarrassing. Have your gearbox go under yellow flag and causes a big stack up right there. Yamino Tenchi took the lead from Kurt Pliskin, who had a somewhat slow pit stop, and the officials actually said that the 831, that the restart that Yamino Tenchi took was a little bit dodgy. He didn't like that restart too much. They thought she jumped it a little bit. However, that became all null and void after the caution flew on lap 89. Tyson Lautenschlager again. However, this time he's going to be a little slow in the restart, and he's going to be getting in the way of Alan Hodges. Alan Hodges is really not going to have anything, and then he doesn't use the brakes! Lautenschlager does not hit the brakes, almost wipes out Jacques Bouvier in the 59 car. We're going to ride on board with Bouvier, and Tyson Lautenschlager on the left is going to play a little bit of a little magic trick. He's going to disappear, and he reappears. and Bouvier is going to need new pants after this race. I can't confirm that, however. Yumino Tenchi in car 831 held the lead, but instead of her jumping the start, she gets probably the worst restart imaginable. Scott Bates in the 88 car gets a good jump on Tenchi. Coming into turn 1, she's going to lose lots of ground up Kazuyama and to Ethan Everett. So Yumino Tenchi apparently getting warned by the officials was not a good thing. There is Carlos Donzello and in second place battling with Yumino Tenchi for the race lead. Anthony Evans there is 4 laps down. Coming out of the backstretch, Donzello and Tenchi are into the wall. Anthony Evans is just cut right in front of the 22 car. Put both first and second place into the wall. Sandoval's into the wall, and we've got a car upside down in the front straight. Absolute mayhem down here. Looks like Evans just pulled right in front of car number 22. It doesn't look like it from this shot. There's Danny Savin into it. So a big mistake on the part of Anthony Evans puts both first and second place in this mess. And I saw a car upside down. That was the 39 of Leon Keniston, and that brought out a red flag. Here's what put the 39 over. Looks like Keniston tried to correct his car and turn the wheel to the right. Drove right over the front of Tom Delgado's car and rolled him on his head. Keniston got the car flipped over, though, during the red flag, and he was able to continue, of all things. The officials clearly were not impressed with this one. Driver and crew chief of car 10 report to the hauler at the end of the race. Now here's the aerial shot. Anthony Evans in the orange 10 car. Carlos Donzello in the 22 and Tenchi are battling for the lead. And Carlos holds his line like he should, and Anthony Evans just cuts right in front of him. A big mistake on Anthony Evans' part. I know he didn't mean to do that on purpose, but we're on board with Matthias Taub, who over his radio said that this move was absolutely disgusting. Clearly Taub didn't like this. And there's Leon Keniston going on his lid. I'm pretty sure Keniston must be wondering what is going on here. And looks like Chris Johans tried to avoid a couple other cars and hooked the 05 of Sandoval. So just a big mistake causes an even bigger pileup. But the one thing you do not do if you're a lap car is collect the leaders in an incident or cause the leaders to crash. And that is exactly what happened here because Donzello had not cleared Tenchi. He couldn't pull to the outside. And Anthony Evans just chopped off the 22. Big mistake on the part of Anthony Evans, which he doesn't normally make. I should like to point that out. Woody Watts in the 041 lost an engine under the yellow flag. It's really not been Katzev's week in general, and now both the Katzevs that qualified for the race are now out. And Kurt Pliskin is back in the lead of the race with Arto Kekkonen in car number 14 running in second. However, Kekkonen has reported overheating problems in that car, and Lance Andrews has moved his way up to third. Jacques Bouvier is sitting in fourth at the moment. Kurt Pliskin trying to keep 2004 TM Master Cup Series champion Matt Taylor right behind him, and he is currently doing so successfully. To Matt Taylor in that number 12 car, we don't think he's going to be returning with that team because there's a lot of infighting, we're being told, between Taylor and some of the crew there. Arto is currently running in second, and Andrews is currently running in third. Of course, we're having a look at the 14 car of Arto Kekkonen. 44 car of Lewis Kingston went a lap down after making an untimely pit stop. Lance Andrews in third is gone 19 seasons without winning a TM Master Cup Series race. Caution 5 flew on lap 106, right as that camera was rolling for the Lance Andrews shot there. Trevin Terrell and Mike Whitmore are going to get together. It looks like Terrell doesn't exactly give Whitmore a whole lot of room. He bounces off Azuma Kazuyama. The Nemoto mates, Delgado and Tenchi, get into each other. Actually, I think Whitmore just kind of stuck his nose in there. That looked pretty marginal, but that looked just like hard racing there. Trevin Terrell held the brake, but it wasn't enough. You'll see Tom Delgado and Yumino Tenchi. Here's what happened to those two. Tenchi, looks like both tried to avoid the wreck and didn't avoid each other. Oh. Takumi Katashima's cars, all three were involved in this incident, but he didn't look too displeased with it, so it looked like that he thought it was just kind of one of those racing incidents. No harm done there. Kurt Pliskin restarted with the lead, but the caution came out before they even got to the start-finish line, thanks to some shenanigans in the back. Those shenanigans being mechanical failures on Carlos Donzello's car. Donzello was reporting, actually it wasn't really a mechanical problem, he was reporting a puncture, whereas Matt Taylor thought that Carlos was angry at him over something and needed to, just express his frustrations with the 12 car. Matt Taylor wasn't exactly going to let the 22 into the pits, and so Taylor just, runs him kind of out of the pit lane, and Donzello is going to bring the car to a stop. So this is clearly going to be a very interesting day in the Majestic Motorsports hauler. Kurt Pliskin restarted with the lead. Alexis Rainsford is off the lead lap. She's trying to get that lap back still. Actually, she went another lap down, trying to get it back. And there is Lance Andrews in the 444 car running in second with the British Racing Green on there. Arto Käkkinen pitted under that yellow flag. He thinking he had a mechanical problem. On the restart, though, he heard telltale signs that an engine failure was imminent in car number 14. He brought it into the pits, and Arto Käkkinen's day was done. The team praised Arto Käkkinen for actually predicting that his engine was going to fail. They found out that if he'd actually run the car for another 2 or 3 laps, that car would have been, the engine would have grenaded. So Arto clearly saving his team a bit of money right now. Kurt Pliskin in car 16, still running in the lead. But here is Andrews in that dark green car. The Renac car, number 444, coming in. Colin Evans is off the lead lap, but nonetheless, he's had a decent showing today. Andrews makes a move on the inside of Kurt Pliskin, hunts down the Predator, and is going to, clear him coming into turn 1. So, this is actually the first car that's actually been able to beat Kurt Pliskin under green flag conditions. That's something that hasn't happened all day. Pliskin dropping back. There's Ian Cooper, who's had a pretty auspicious race. He's the last car running. He's, 4 laps off the pace. Look, riding on the back of the Andrews car after Kurt Pliskin has gotten around Ethan Everett. Hey, that's the last thing I'd like to see in my rearview mirror is the Predator hunting me down for the lead of the race. And Kurt Pliskin does seem to have quite an affinity for tracks like this. So Pliskin is closing in on Andrews. And of course, Andrews, my normal mate in the broadcast booth. I had Julian Alexander in the booth with me this week. On board with Pliskin as we get a nice shot of the rear end of Andrews' car. Kurt Pliskin is not going to go down without a fight. He's still getting closer and closer to that 444 car, and it looks like he might just be able to pull out and make a move, but Andrews is holding him off at present. You'll notice on Scott Stoyler's moved up to 6th. Tom Delgado and Yamino Tenchi are both in the top 10, and Leon Kennison, after rolling the car, is in 10th. Back on board with Andrews, as Kurt Pliskin finally is able to get on the inside of the 444 car, and the Predator has hunted the lead back, and he is going to go get it. As Kurt Pliskin is pulling away a little bit, Andrews gets a bit wide, tries to make a run on the outside, but he's going to get bogged down by I think that's the 31 of Drew Eisenman, and that is Eisenman's car. And Ethan Everett sweeps by, and Kurt Pliskin takes the lead back and puts the 11 car in between himself and Andrews as a buffer. But he is still stuck behind Welshman Alan Hodges, the points leader coming into this race, who is actually one of the... and Kurt Pliskin's lost the engine! Pliskin has lost the engine in car number 16! Oh, no! He's led the most laps of the race! Oh, Ian Cooper and Scott Bates get together! Oh, this is a huge, huge travesty for the Power Steering Incorporated team! They were on course to possibly take their first win with their own car! Ow! Looks like this engine blow-up just took Cooper by surprise. He hit the brakes, but not quickly enough, and ran into the back of his teammate, Scott Bates. Apparently no harm, no foul there. Bates wouldn't need to pit for damage, but all this mayhem is going to mean that Cooper's going to need to pit again for repairs in the 777 car. But more importantly, this is going to put Lance Andrews in the lead. 2.8 second lead, pulling away from second place. In 19 years of racing in the Master Cup Series, he has never won a race. 18 pole positions and 39 second place finishes. The numbers don't lie. Lance Andrews has been one of the unluckiest men ever in racing, and currently he's got a very healthy lead. This is the battle for second place between Chris Johans and Zach Duff, with Tom Delgado currently sitting in 4th. These 3 cars have all persevered through all sorts of trouble and have come up with a top 5 run going. Zach Duff, though, is clearly faster than the Cleffer Media Tremwell in front of him. Scott Bates, you see back there, is not running in 5th place. He is a couple laps off the pace due to poor pit planning, apparently. It's not been the Team EFR guy's day, for one reason or another. Around board now with Chris Johans' car, as Zach Duff is going to make a move on the inside in the dilated Volpe, and Duff is going to make a Johans doesn't quite give Duff room, but Duff just is able to squeak by Chris Johans. Johans did everything he needed to in order to defend the position. I condone that sort of block that Johans made, by the way. So Duff is going to take second, despite Chris Johans' best efforts. But this battle's irrelevant. Lance Anders is just taking the white flag lap. Coming off of turn 2, I can almost not believe what I'm seeing. He has gone over 600 races without a race win, and after 19 years of trying, Lance Anders finally wins a TM Master Cup Series race. Oh, everyone here in the studio is so happy for him because this is something he's wanted to do ever since he started his career, and he's finally broken through. One of the unluckiest men in racing has finally taken a race win. Zach Duff is second. Chris Johans is now third. Tom Delgado fourth. Danny Savant takes fifth. Yamino Tenchi, Trevin Terrell, a fantastic debut. Leon Keniston, Leonid Roderick, and Marcus Leonard, who has a series high 9 top 10 finishes in 14 races so far. Fantastic race for Lance Andrews and for the whole Channel 44 team, and for Flash Racing and the Inglesby. Also, I think it's the first ever time a triple-digit numbered car has ever won a Master Cup Series race. And here are the points leaving the round of Michigan. Alan Hodges still holds the points lead over 3 points over Adrian Devereaux. He held a 8-point margin coming into this race. Alexis Rainsford gains a few, but not enough, up to third. Back to third. Tony Durbin in fourth. Drew Eisenman in fifth. It's a pretty close battle there with fourth through sixth. Leonid Roderick in seventh. Looks like Roderick's title hopes are still alive as he has finally gotten ahead of Arto Kakinen in the points charts. Ethan Everett and Chris Johans, after a fantastic drive, are 9th and 10th in the championship. And here we go through a look at 11 through 20. Jacques Bouvier in 11th. Scott Stoidler, Kurt Pliskin in... Kurt Pliskin led the most laps today, but it just was not enough. The car did not make the distance, but his new sponsors got to be thrilled just with the speed that the JD Predator showed today. One of the most motivated drives from Pliskin, but not to be. Lance Andrews had to kind of spoil that party, and so did the unreliability of the Predator. Scott Bates in the 88 car takes 14th in the championship. He's steadily risen through the points in the past couple of races. Matt Taylor is up to 15th, or rather still in 15th, and not a whole lot of goodwill being shown among Matt Taylor and the rest of the Majestic Motorsports team. Zelda Ashby is 16th. Tom Delgado is the leading the moto driver in 17th. He's got to be happy about his result today. Leon Kennison in 18th, Yamino Tenchi 19th, and Dale Roswell hangs on to 20th. Dale Roswell, probably old enough to be the grandfather of everyone else on this page right here except Scott Bates, and probably Kurt Pliskin as well. Dale Roswell, of course, the oldest driver in the field at 63. And here is what the Independence Trophy looks like leading this race. Michael Sykes still holds the lead. Craig Yountzer's points haul is going to stall out at second. Nils Talonen is going to sit in third. He's still got one race left. Ali Riggs, Colin Evans, Todd Wodarczyk, Cyrus Laterza. Charlie Waters has got the Round of Russia, which he believes could help his Independence Trophy significantly, and we'll have to see how many points car number 130 is able to gain over there. Le Gruel in the Xenos is 9th, and Joel Rodriguez is tied with Tyson Lautenschlager and I believe Esko Casquella for 10th.